Boom, Trump deploys powerful weapon. North Korea panicking. We have been at odds with North Korea for years now. No one has known quite what to do about them until President Trump stepped into office. Aside from the air carrier, submarine fleet, and foot soldiers our military and Trump placed around the communist country, we now have a new weapon to help us. The U.S. Air Force sent a nuclear sniffer around the Korean peninsula. Via Yonhap News. The purpose of the sniffer, WC-135 Constant Phoenix, is to test and see if North Korea is currently testing nuclear weapons. It goes through the atmosphere and gathers samples to detect and inform us if there has been a nuclear explosion in the area. After all of the threats that North Korea has made towards us, we need to check and make sure they are not planning something drastic. The Constant Phoenix is also able to identify whether or not there were any changes in the atmosphere from the last time it checked, even if the difference is non-nuclear. We have heard unconfirmed rumors that North Korea spoke with China about their plans for nuclear experimentation. It would be odd to discover this information were true, especially considering that China has been siding with us up until this point. Information has come in from South Korea informing the United States that the North Korean military is ready to launch their sixth nuclear test at their known Panicking site. They are allegedly just waiting on orders from Kim Jong-un. The North Koreans have been allowed to run amok for too long. They need to know that they are on watch and that their threats are being taken seriously. If they try to strike against us, we will bring them down in one fell swoop. It is great to finally have a president that is willing to stand up for us in our time of need. The former president, Obama, let everything slide and never once even issued a warning to the North Koreans. How long would it have taken for Obama to say something? Would he have waited until after our country was buried in nuclear fallout? I thank God every day that the traitor-in-chief is no longer in office and we now have a president dedicated to making America safe again. We are following this story closely because it is paramount to our future. If we end up in a military conflict with North Korea, it is only because Kim Jong-un was allowed to test his hardware without anyone stepping up. Now that we have President Trump by our side, you can bet that we will not back down. We will get the North Korean situation squared away at any cost. Watch, here's how Lil Kim thinks a NK-US war would look. Saturday was the Day of the Sun in North Korea, the biggest holiday on the North Korean calendar. Dictator Kim Jong-un presided in his usual style, in this case parading missiles, troops, and military equipment through the streets in tight formations. To cap it all off, the Kim regime showed a video of nuclear missiles hitting San Francisco and turning it into a lake of fire. And he shows that off with a live orchestra? Yes, proving yet again that he would be hilarious if he were a murderous dictator who somehow possesses nuclear weapons. Lil Kim gave a concert during the weekend in which a screen behind the orchestra showed the Bay Area being pelted by atomic warheads. According to SFGate, the concert was the grand finale of the Day of the Sun festivities. While it looks like something out of Dr. Strangelove, this really did happen. And holy moly, is it insane! Those missiles that hit San Francisco in the video, by the by, were the same type of supposed missiles that were shown off during the parade. I say supposed because many analysts believe them to be fake. The UK Sun reported that they were wobbling during the parade, leading many to believe they might be made out of something flimsier than aerospace-grade metal. While that wouldn't be surprising, given North Korea's dire economic straits, the fact is that they're slowly moving towards a place in which their technology could mean they would be able to blackmail the world with nuclear weapons. The fact that this insane man has been dealt with through strategic patience for so many years is simply unbelievable. The North Koreans now say they will test missiles weekly, which means that confrontations with this demented bully are going to become more and more common. The Trump administration needs to do something about North Korea and its deranged leader, and they need to do it now. Please like and share on Facebook and Twitter if you agree. What are your thoughts on Kim Jong-un? Scroll down to comment below. Poll: Trump believes veterans should come before illegals. Do you agree? Veterans are, without a doubt, the most important people in our country. Unlike Obama, President Trump believes veterans should always come before illegals. We are glad to finally have a president who cares about current veterans, as well as future veterans. Obama made a ton of promises before, and even during, his campaign. He never followed through with any of them. Time and time again, he would say that veterans should not have to wait for their medical care to come through. We witnessed a spike of deaths from veterans with diseases that could have been addressed early and possibly prevented. He did not really do anything that made life better for veterans, or anyone else, for that matter. Illegals were also given free reign of our country under the former president. They could come in from whatever direction they wanted, get government health care, food stamps, and a check, but there are still tons of veterans starving on the streets. It is absolutely insane. President Trump is working on slowing that process to a halt. He is currently making life easier for the veterans who fought hard for our freedom and security. One of Trump's core promises was to choke off the line of illegals walking into our country like we owe them something. We can now allocate that money and put it towards Veterans Affairs programs and events. They need our support more than illegals ever will. The big question many of the left-wingers have is, how could veterans support President Trump? The answer is easier than you think. Most importantly, President Trump supports our Constitution. Past presidents have managed to bastardize the Constitution into a shell of its former self. President Trump has come out strong, supporting the patriots as well as the document for which they were fighting. Another factor that the Dems tend to forget is that President Trump is a strong supporter of our military. The left walks around during protests in Pooh hats while ferociously claiming that they are victims. Veterans will never support this sort of childish behavior. Trump and veterans believe in real battles. They believe in going to war for the right reasons. We need to consistently and constantly battle for our rights. The left's version of protesting is little more than whining in the streets. They are not doing anything to further the discussion to help our veterans. Instead, they want to silence anyone who does not agree with them. The line is divided even further when you try to have an intelligent conversation with the left about the importance of veterans in our community. You will be called a racist, bigot, Islamophobe, and whatever other dumb, now meaningless, words they want to throw at you. They will tell you that we do not care about illegals and we are terrible for it. No, we do not have an obligation to help people who are not only here legally, but show no respect for any of our other laws. We need to start showing more respect for our veterans and helping however we can. Take the poll now. Do you think that veterans should come before illegals? Let us know below. U.S. Navy redesigning brand new submarine for one purpose only. The U.S. Navy is redesigning its new submarines, and the reason why might surprise you. It's modifying the interior of the warships to accommodate the needs of female crew members. Submarines used to be constructed with the needs of men in mind, but that is soon going to change, according to the Associated Press. Now that more women are serving aboard the vessels, their needs will also be considered, defense contractor Electric Boat told the AP. The sub-fleet began accepting female officers in 2012 and female enlisted personnel in 2014, according to The Hill. Electric Boat will redesign the Navy's Virginia-class fast attack subs and Columbia-class ballistic missile submarine. Both vessels will be constructed with male and female body measurements in mind. We have a clean sheet of paper, so from the ground up, we'll optimize for both men and women, said Brian Wilson, director of the new ballistic missile sub-program for Electric Boat. The optimizations include more doors and washrooms, which will create separate sleeping and bathing areas for women for additional privacy. Other modifications include seat adjustments so everyone can reach controls and joysticks. Valves in certain areas will also be lowered and steps will be added in certain places so everyone can access the tools or equipment they need. Overhead valves will be made easier to turn. The USS New Jersey, the first submarine built with the new features, was expected to join the fleet in 2021. Electric Boat officials did not share an estimate of how much the modifications would cost the Navy. To accommodate women, The Navy has already created signs for bathroom doors to indicate whether a male or female is using the facility. So far there's no word on how the Navy would deal with bathrooms for transgender people. One of the first women to serve on board a submarine, Lieutenant Marquette Levy, said that at 5 feet 6 inches she didn't have many problems reaching valves and other equipment, but that the changes would benefit shorter women. One would assume that up until this point, shorter men simply had to deal with it. Watch, Trump issues powerful new warning to China, Americans are cheering. President Trump is quickly becoming the most powerful force on the world stage, returning America to the position of prominence we once enjoyed. In a memo signed and released yesterday, President Trump promised to protect American steel producers. "We're going to use American steel, we're going to use American labor, we are going to come first in all deals," said the president. Steel imports have risen almost 20% since February of last year, hurting domestic producers. Wilbur Ross, the Secretary of Commerce, is being directed to launch an investigation to determine if China and other countries are dumping steel into our economy and undermining our national security. Dumping is an aggressive pricing policy where a foreign country will lower the price of a good they sell to drive out competitive or hurt foreign markets. China has been long suspect of dumping steel. Sales of shares in steel companies are soaring as a result of the announcement. The stock value of steel manufacturers have increased by up to 10% for some companies. U.S. Steel released a statement praising the decision. In the statement, they accused China of committing economic warfare against the United States while distorting global markets. U.S. Steel blamed China for the destruction of supply chains, which resulted in the loss of tens of thousands of American jobs and the closure of multiple production plants. Changes in the importation of steel would replace the lost jobs and continue to generate new employment opportunities. The Trump administration said they would not ban foreign steel imports, but they are considering the use of tariffs. If foreign countries are subsidizing their steel industry, then we would need to impose tariffs on imports to restore the fair market cost of steel. The memo was issued as the Dow Jones was already in an upswing and traders prepare for favorable new tax policies. The memo also confirms President Trump's commitment to restoring American manufacturing and providing much-needed jobs. Do you think we should impose tariffs? Please share the story on Facebook and tell us what you think, because we want